We welcome you back. That's our next guest, quite a talented individual, Ben Utecht, former tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts. And Ben, we welcome you. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. All right, you've been the focus of much talk here, and you want to get the word out also about your fears from having played in the NFL related to memory loss and possibly Alzheimer's, God forbid, and God forbid Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and the statistics that have come out recently. Tell us about what you're going through right now, and then tell us about the letter that you wrote on a plane to your daughters that, should the day ever come, explain.
Well, it was a difficult transition for me leaving the NFL, having to walk away because of my 5th documented concussion. Unfortunately, at 33 years old, some of the things that I struggle with are memory loss. And I'll never forget coming back to Minnesota. My wife and I had a good friend of ours and talking about wedding memories, and we sat there at the table, and I asked my friend Matt, why wasn't I able to be at your wedding? And he kind of looked at me funny, and I said, no, seriously, why wasn't I able to be there? And his wife got up and got their wedding photo album and brought it back to the table, and page after page there I was as a groomsman in the wedding. I sang in his wedding, and we all kind of sat there at the table just in awkward silence. And I have no memory of that event. That's one of a couple handfuls of gaps that are just no longer a part of my past.
And this has been diagnosed. Obviously, it makes sense, but diagnosed medically to be related to the concussions.
I mean, that is, exactly where we believe it to come from, and I think that's what we're finding in many of the deceased players in the NFL, including the recent Javon Belcher, where his doctor is saying after the autopsy that, in fact, CTE was involved. He was 25 years old. That's a brain disease. That chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a brain disease that is in the same world as Alzheimer's. He's 25 years old, and so I think at 33, that's a reality.
Ben, how old are your daughters?
My daughters are 5, and we have identical twins at 3.5. And
God bless them. And you wrote a letter to them in case, God forbid, the day comes when you can't remember them or express your love for them. And I know that was a very moving experience on that airplane when you wrote it. But because of time constraints here, what do you recommend be done? I mean, we've heard so much about the domestic violence in the NFL, and this has to happen and that has to happen. In the minute we have left, what do you want to see happen within the NFL, or changes to the NFL?
Well, the nature of the game has to change. People have to put brain health as priority number 1. First of all, we need to connect athletes to neurologists. Neurologists are the brain experts, and we're not doing that. In my 6 years in the NFL, I never once saw a neurologist, believe it or not, even though I had 5 documented concussions. We need to come up with something better than the Heads Up program. In fact, we need to institute a non-contact, high-level league for youth sports to save our children from during the most developmental stages of their brain.
Would you ever let your child, your son, play football if you had one?
If I had boys, they would not play football until high school, but I would train them and prepare them for that opportunity. I would give their bodies time to strengthen their neck strength, to become more mature.
So you think they start too young? Listen, Ben, I wish we had more time. Thank you for joining us. I do hope we'll speak again, and good luck to you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. See ya.
All right, Ben Utecht, ladies and gentlemen. It's a problem. Give Me 5 is next. Don't go away.